Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. This is our daily get-together live here on Facebook every morning at 10:30, where we share and exchange headlines, stories, topics, ideas, questions, and suggestions about how to have an awesome life here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. But not today. Today is Sunday, and Sundays we throw caution to the wind. We have no news, at least no bad news. Today is Sunday Fun Day, where nothing is sacred and no one is safe. So today is only about fun. If today is your first time here, my name is Paco, and you're welcome to let us know that you're new by writing the word "new" in your comment. And that way we can welcome you properly. And if you have any specific questions, in case we miss them, you can add the letter Q to your question, and that helps us find it as we're looking through the comments. And if we cannot answer it right during the show, we are definitely going to take a look at it immediately afterwards. So it is always great to see people that we know and love joining us on a Sunday. It's a chilly Sunday for locals. I mean, I felt chilly this morning, and in fact, I have my usual fan blowing at me, and I'm like, ooh, I need to turn that down because it's cold. Dale has us paired to a Bose speaker, and she goes, wow. So that must be our sexy voice. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. The wind is blowing in Minnesota, and Colorado's here, and Conchas Chinas is here, and the Ozarks are here, and Punta de Mita is here, and Cincinnati is here. It's just a great thing to see you all. Kelly must be getting ready to pack. Kelly, if there are Butterfingers where you are, bring a dozen, because we don't have Butterfingers in Puerto Vallarta. How sad is that? Let's see who else is here. A motorcycle going by is here. Versalles is here with Dan. It is great to see you all. Oh my goodness. Today would be Mom's 81st birthday. What a beautiful day to remember, Terry. I'm glad that things are great in Nuevo Vallarta. Oh no, Dee is missing Puerto Vallarta. Hopefully you'll be able to come back soon. Well, today we have a few things that I want to share. Starting with some show and tell from yesterday, and we're going to talk about dirty songs, and we're going to talk about, once we're comfortable and loose, we're going to talk about tourists. Tourists in Puerto Vallarta, what we love and what we hate about tourists in Puerto Vallarta. But it's okay. It's okay. Coffee and Headlines is a community of locals. So tourists, you may find that your feathers are ruffled ever so slightly if you are a tourist and you're listening today, but that's okay. It's all in kindness. It's all in kindness. Elvis is new. Good morning. We love your show here in Canada. In Canada. We can't wait to be able to get there to see our new home. Excellent. Elvis and Tina. Great to know that you're watching. Well, anyhow, here we go. Oh, Butterfingers are on the way. You know, there goes my waistline. I love it. Logan laughs because, yes, a long time ago you brought me Butterfingers from the United States. I love Butterfingers, and we cannot find them anywhere. Anyhow, random things to share with you today. For starters, I went to the garage sale at El Arrayan yesterday, and I got exactly what I wanted. And what I wanted was a couple of these little uh, tin buckets that El Arrayan used to have hanging around the patio with candles in them. And I remember seeing these the very first time I went to El Arrayan, and I figured I have to have these. So I got in touch with Carmen when I found out about the garage sale, and I asked, "Can you put a couple of these aside for me?" And she said, "Sure." And I was really amused to know that Carmen and Claudia specifically drilled the holes on these. The reason why I wanted them, aside from the fact that I wanted to have a memento from the restaurant, is check this out. This is a vintage milk container made of tin, just like these buckets. And I found that tin container a million years ago in San Sebastián del Oeste, and I bought it for peanuts. And I brought it home and I drilled holes in it, and I put a light fixture inside, and I put an incandescent light bulb, one of those clear ones. And what happens is, because of the holes and some kind of optical law that I cannot even begin to explain, if you use an incandescent light bulb inside of these things, the filaments show up on the outside. So late at night, I love this lamp because it's the only light that I keep on in the evening. It just shows like what I call them filament stars. So needless to say, on this chingadera that I bought from El Arrayan, it's not a bad chingadera. It's a good chingadera. I'm going to use them for candles, but they're going to get along just fine with that other incandescent light fixture that I made for myself. The end. So yesterday, that was my mission. I was supposed to get together and have lunch with my friend Candace and her daughter Savannah. But Candace also went to the shopping, to the garage sale, and she ended up spending so many things that she had to take them home. So lunch was canceled. I ended up having lunch elsewhere with some friends, and at some point during the lunch, we were tossing our salads and having fun and eating, and there were lyrics being played on the speakers. And all of a sudden, I heard the lyric that said something along the lines of, "I'm going to fuck you tonight," or "we are fucking tonight," or it had to do with evening, and it had to do with fucking, and it was quite explicit. And I'm here trying to have my lunch, and I'm like, okay, good news. There's going to be fucking in the evening. And my friend Logan, who was having lunch with me, says to me, "Well, you haven't had a dirty coffee and headlines in a while." So I figured, well, maybe I should do some research on dirty songs and filthy songs. And I Googled some things, and there are so many of them now that I figured, it's overdone. But I mean, I did hold on to a few interesting nuggets because in the announcement for the show today, I said, I long for the days in which there was subtlety. And yes, some time ago, I mean, there's always been naughty songs in the repertoire. I mean, look at some of the things that Cole Porter wrote. Some of his lyrics are racy, or at least they were racy at the time. But sometimes, nowadays the lyrics are so much in your face that it's not even fun when they're naughty. I mean, they're just fucking naughty, in no pun intended. But let me see, what did I find that really amused me? Well, for starters, I found this lyric that I never paid attention to from Grease Lightning. "You are supreme, the chicks will cream for Grease Lightning." And that sounds so innocent, but it may not have been all that innocent at the time. And we sit around and we sing this song and we don't think twice about it. And then, of course, there's the Beatles' "Ticket to Ride," which is an actually confusing song in a sense that the meaning, I mean, what is this business of ticket to ride? The lyrics describe a girl writing out of the life of the narrator. But then, if you ask Paul McCartney what it meant, Paul McCartney said that the title referenced a British Railways ticket to the town of Ryde on the Isle of Wight. And then John Lennon said, no, it describes cards indicating a clean bill of health carried by Hamburg prostitutes in the 1960s. So the ticket to ride was a euphemism for being able to go out and sell your wares, as it were. So I figured, well, this is interesting. And I don't know if you knew that about the song. I'm sure that Richard Carpenter had no idea when he came out with his very innocent version of Ticket to Ride, which Karen Carpenter sang beautifully. But I'm sure that Richard Carpenter, being somewhat of a prude, might not have chosen to record the song at the time. So then I continued researching and I found, okay, this is so in your face because I figured BuzzFeed had the dirtiest song lyrics from the last 10 years, starting with this. I'm that flight that you can get on, international first class seat on my lap, girl, riding comfortable. That's not so bad. That's from a track called Talk Dirty by Jason Derulo. But then there's this. I let him hit it because he slang cocaine. He tossed my salad like his name Romaine in a song called Anaconda by Nicki Minaj. There's no subtlety there, my friends. And what about this one? You got your legs up in the sky with the devil in your eyes. Let me hear you say you want it all. This comes from a song by Bruno Mars. So I'm not going to be a prude here or anything, but it's like these songs leave absolutely nothing to the imagination. Oh, check this one out. This one is absolutely beautiful. He popped all my buttons and he ripped my blouse. He Monica Lewinsky'd all on my gown. Well, one would have to know what a Monica Lewinsky is, so I certainly hope you're up on your latest politics. Okay, let me see if you have any interesting or colorful commentary up till now. Let me see. Shabba-dabba-doom, bam, boom, bam, bim, bam, bam. Tia-da-dee-da-da-da-dam. Aha. No. I love the Butterfingers. Yes, we love Butterfingers. Somebody should bring us a bunch of Butterfingers. Let's see. Jorge asks if the lamp has little hearts. No, the lamp has round holes that I drilled just with a regular drill bit. The things inside look like they're shaped like little hearts because of the filaments on the light bulb itself. I would like to hear Mexican dirty songs. Duly noted, Ronnie. I will certainly put some together for you. And we can take a look at, we have taken a look at deadly Mexican songs. We can take a look at dirty Mexican songs. I will be so very happy to do that. And we'll schedule that next week. When I have time, listen to Sex by Berlin. I definitely will. Shannon says, you should listen to this last summer's hit, WAP. You will never eat macaroni again. Oh, but I like macaroni. I don't know that I want to listen to that if it's going to make me not want to eat macaroni. Last one on my list of interesting songs that I researched, and there was a lot out there, but this one was really funny because it has to do with the Macarena, which we all love and dance to at weddings, etc., etc. Well, when you stop to listen to the Spanish lyrics, the Spanish lyrics were translated by the Huffington Post, and then they did this actual video in which people reacted to what the lyrics were about. Well, the lyrics are in Spanish, so let me tell you what the Macarena lyrics are about. Give your body joy, Macarena, because your body is meant to be given joy and good things. Give your body joy, Macarena. Hey, Macarena. So far, so good. But then Macarena has a boyfriend who is named with the last name Vitorino, and while he was being sworn in as a conscript, she's giving it to two friends. But then further on, Macarena dreams of buying the most modern clothes. She would like to live in New York and seduce a new boyfriend. Macarena. So there's nothing wholesome and pretty about this song, which we listen to in weddings. So here you are cheering to Macarena in a wedding when the song is about threesomes and this and that and the other. So there you have it. Also being played at local high schools while you speak. So that is. Hey, what do you mean no banda, please? Angelica, you don't like banda music? Is there anybody else that doesn't like banda music? I'm going to defend banda music. Oh, that's the lyric. Thank you very much, Paul. I couldn't remember what it was, but tonight I'm fucking you. So romantic. Yes, that was the song. I try to remember the lyric And I Googled fucking tonight, and you've no idea all kinds of responses that I got from Google. Moctezuma Loza asks, "What are my favorite panaderias in town?" You put me in a tough spot because I don't know them by name, but I like the one that is on Basilio Vadillo. I like the one that's near my house called Panaderia Integral, and there's a couple of others that are absolutely wonderful. But I will put a list together of great panaderias. James is looking forward to eating in Versalles. I say it's a lot of there's a lot of wonderful things here in Versalles. We are always talking about it. And James is also defending Banda. Well, Banda has interesting things to defend and interesting things to despise. Oh my God, do we get into Banda today? No, no, no. Let's not get into Banda today because we have to really pursue Banda. There's a cultural element of it. There's the musical element of it. There's a lack of imagination element to it. We will tackle Banda at some point. I want to. I'm 64. I grew up in a world where cussing and many words were not spoken. It's so strange to hear them in everyday speak. I hear ya, Lucina. I hear ya. There's certain songs that just blow my mind. But again, if we were to dive into a big research of dirty music and dirty songs, I mean, dirty songs exist since the beginning of the gramophone. I mean, since records were invented, there's some really naughty songs out there. Some of them are subtle, some of them are double entendre, and some of them are pretty in your face, even for the time in which they were recorded. But you're right. Oh, there you go. The lyrics for Despacito are anything but innocent. We know that. We know that. So anyhow, since we're talking about Versalles, I need to share something that one of our own published on Facebook. And this would be our friend Paul V from Boston. He visited Versalles. We know that Paul is vacationing in town. He watches Coffee and Headlines regularly. And he posted this. Just want to recommend Artisan Bakery in Versalles. It's really worth the trip out to Zona, meaning Zona Romantica. And we're not going to hold it against Paul that he calls it Zona or Zona Romantica, at least not right now. That's not the point of my conversation. But the comments that he gets have to do with people that are obviously vacationers who have not really thought of and of getting out of Emiliano Zapata and exploring the rest of Puerto Vallarta or the places that us locals know and love. And that made me roll my eyes a little bit. But then I started thinking, well, do we really want all these tourists in other parts of Puerto Vallarta? And that brings me to the next point. So we love tourists. We love tourism. We love the fact that tourists come to Puerto Vallarta year round, but we love the fact that all of a sudden, you get into the winter season and number one, there's poinsettias everywhere. Number two, there are Christmas ornaments in Walmart. Number three, Act 2 Entertainment has taken over every single fucking lamppost in the city and bombarded them with banners. And the sidewalks are impossible to navigate. Yeah, hey, it's winter. The tourists are back. So let's put aside the goodness of having tourism because it's good for our economy. They bring pesos, they bring dollars, they tip, so forth and so on. But what are the things that we are not so crazy about when it comes to tourists? Anybody? I would love to hear your comments. Meanwhile, let me see what you have typed so far. Let's see. We especially want to find places with outdoor dining during this visit. Well, the beautiful thing is that there's a lot of places to choose from. Why does everyone mispronounce Basilio Vadillo? It's not Basilo Badillo, it's Basilio Badillo. Well, oh my goodness, Diane, we could get into pronunciation and typos and so forth and so on. That is a really good question. It is absolutely funny. Let's see. Um, well, Paul meant out of the zona. Call it whatever you want. It's people call it Old Town. People call it Zona Romantica. People call it South Side. It's called Emiliano Zapata. So I mean, when you say why can't people pronounce Basilio Vadillo? Well, why can't people call things for their name? The name of the neighborhood is Emiliano Zapata. That's just a personal pet peeve of mine. Uh, let's see. The tourists that come during festivals completely disrespect our home. Well, it's that's a little general of a statement, but yes, you're right. Some of them are great tourists. Some of them are just not so great tourists. Tourists behaving badly. Absolutely, we have tourists that don't behave properly. And I think this year is going to be an interesting year because this year in particular is very different. We're not going to dive into that because we're decided we're not going to uh, talk about important news on Sundays. But some of the tourists that we get, good Lord. Um, let's see. Many tourists seem to have no regard for locals. Full time residents wear a mask. Absolutely. Absolutely. Tourists, please stop stepping into traffic. That bus isn't stopping. Well, that's an important point, Catherine, because north of the border, the relationship between pedestrians and vehicles is very different from the relationship that we have with pedestrians here in Mexico. And I'm not saying that this is a good thing or a bad thing. It is simply different. I've had more than one tourist that, when my car went at a stoplight, went like, 10 inches past the line for the tourists. I mean, they look at you like they want to fucking kill you. I mean, how dare you not respect the line like they respect the line in the United States? It's like, well, sorry, dude. I mean, this is Mexico. We drive differently. But you're right. I mean, if you make the statement or make the move that you're going to cross the street without giving a shit about where the traffic light is pointing, cars are going to stop. I mean, cars are not going to stop. So that is absolutely going to be a problem. Let's see. Hey, Paco, does this mean we should not admit to being a tourist when we come every year for 2 months? Sherry, I think it's a mindset. It's a mindset. I mean, here at Coffee and Headlines, we talk completely and constantly all the time about the fact that this program is for locals. Now, if you come here for 2 months and you feel like a local and you act like a local and you've been doing it for a long time, then for all intents and purposes, you're a local. Um, my big beefs with tourists have to do with tourists that arrive and don't take the basic time it takes to just do some research online about, hey, how do you behave wherever you are? What goes and what doesn't go in your town. Let's see. James says, I'm a tourist, but I will live here eventually. It's about any kind of traveling, especially the culture where you go. Well, James is a perfect example of many people that are going to, that have mentioned that they're going to move here. Well, if you start doing your observations now, then you will be better prepared to know exactly how people behave here, and your expectations will be more in line with the lifestyle that we have. Sue adds, though young ones come to party and drink, drink, drink. Well, sorta, kinda. I always have to warn my friends that cars don't stop. No, we don't. You don't have the right of way. And you don't have the right to look at us funny when we're driving. I'm sorry. People drive funny. People drive here in a different way. Funny to hear all these comments. Weren't you all tourists once? And aren't you all tourists somewhere? Do you all behave perfectly? Let me tell you something, Lucina. I think we were all tourists once, and we were encouraged to behave properly, not perfectly, properly, wherever we go, based on whatever education we got. At least that's my theory. Do I always behave perfectly? Probably not. But do I always do research about how things are done wherever I'm going? I certainly do. And there's so many research sources of information right now that I have no justification for people that don't behave the way they should. And Paul is mentioning here words that I frequently mention. There are tourists and vacationers, but then there are travelers. My parents, and I'm not bragging or anything, my parents taught me to be a traveler, not a tourist. And in my mind, there's a big difference. When I was in Cuba, what was it, last year or the year before, I insisted on talking to a lot of locals, trying to learn about how they live, how they work, what their lives are like. And I don't necessarily say that makes me better than anybody else, but I really wanted to understand what the context was like. If you feel like a local, Sherry, then you must be like a local, and people must welcome you like a local. Michelle chimes in on Lucina's comments. It's a matter of being respectful. Um, Felix learned fairly quickly that there are no traffic laws in Mexico. Anything goes. Absolutely. I mean, this is why I stopped riding my bicycle when I came here to Puerto Vallarta, because I knew I was going to get killed. I was going to get killed. Uh, Tourists can be known to act poorly all over the world. They are usually the ones that act poorly in their own home. Interesting, interesting. But they are the ones that keep the place alive. So even for us who are only 4-month tourists, we just put up with them and are happy for what the Mexicans reap from it. Well, yes, 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 yes. This is all true. Um, for better or for worse, we live in a tourist destination, but that doesn't mean that we are supposed to bend over and take it from tourists when they're behaving badly. And that's just my 2 cents on this subject. And I know that this is a subject that is dear to many English speaking locals, but we don't want to talk about it because, we're not supposed to. We're supposed to be the most welcoming city in the world. Well, it gets tired for everyone. So there. Yes, I'm ranting about tourists today. Um, John Russell, JR. Some years ago, they changed the law to give pedestrians the right of way. Unfortunately, the drivers of cars never saw this. Well, it's like trying to change habits. Very difficult. Um, when I come to PV once a month, I pick up trash off the beach. I don't like being charged 2 to 3 times the amount of a Mexican local for a taxi ride. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Uh, I'm pretty sure I don't always behave perfectly. Who does? Who does? I mean, we all have our snafus, but then Claude's comment is spot on. It is your responsibility, it is our responsibility to become educated on as it relates to our behavior in other countries. Um, let's see. Bum, ba-ding, bum, 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 bum. Sorry, I love listening to tourists at Starbucks. They're absolutely hysterical. Well, I mean, waiting in line next to tourists here in town, anywhere you are, it's just funny. Some of the stuff that comes out of tourists' mouths is just absolutely hysterical. And yes, we were all tourists here at some point. I was a tourist here, although the first time I arrived in Puerto Vallarta, I came here to live here. So I became a resident without ever being a tourist in town. Um, what did I like the most while being in Cuba? The fact that it is stopped in time, the fact that so many of the things that I saw were vintage, old, but it is a modern city with modern ideologies. I mean, I just loved walking around and talking to people. The men, oh my God, the guys, yum, yum, yum. But I never went there because I wanted to be a good tourist. Oh, Dios mío. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I get you all going about the tourists, and I don't mean to get you all going about the tourists in a bad way. I just mean to give us an opportunity to breathe about tourists. I mean, we are grateful for tourists, without a doubt. And actually, we like the opportunity to enlighten, to share new information and knowledge with tourists so that they can become better contributors to our lives here. Again, it's not like I am against tourism or anything. We get tourists to join us here at Coffee and Headlines every now and then when their questions are too touristy. Well, we don't have as many resources to answer tourist related questions as the myriad websites and bulletin boards and Facebook groups that exist that cater exclusively to tourists. We just like to celebrate that they come, and then we like to celebrate that they go, and we like having something to talk about when it comes to tourists. Question: wouldn't hooking up with a local in Cuba count as being a good tourist? For me, yes. logistically, in this particular trip that I took, it was not going to happen because of who I was traveling with and what kind of sleeping accommodations we had, and so forth and so on. So I chose not to go there. And maybe I'll have to come back and do it again in Cuba. Tourists say that New Yorkers are rude. No, you're just in a hurry. Absolutely. Steven says, Paco, will you do? Will I do what? I would like to know. I will be happy to do, but tell me what I'm supposed to do, and I'll be happy to do it. Love it. Always remember to speak to the people in your neighborhood. Talk with the shop owners. Ask about their families. This is part of being a human and interacting with your neighborhood. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, it's like every time I hop in a cab, I ask the cab driver, hey, how's it going, Mr. Uber? Is life okay? Are you doing good? Is the pandemic killing you? Are you doing okay? Paco, will you do an episode of Coffee at My Condo? What is so special about your condo, Stephen? Let me know, and we'll definitely consider it. Um, wow, that is an intriguing question. Paco, will you do an episode of Coffee at My Condo? Please let me know what's so special about it, and we'll be happy to consider it. Definitely. Let's see. It is 11 o'clock. We've had half an hour of this. I'm having a good time. If anybody has any last minute questions, please share them right now, because I have two more headlines that I want to share with you before we leave. I also want to let you know that yesterday, as I was walking around town, I ended up stopping by at Licks, and I took a little bit of a video, and I'll be happy to share it with you tomorrow if it came out okay. If it didn't, well, that gives me an excuse to go back to Licks at the Malecon and and try that again. Pamela asks, why do people find it easy to judge others than to judge themselves? I don't know. Why not, Pam? I don't think it's about judging others. It's about it for me. And if you're implying that this whole line of conversation is with being judgmental about others, that's one way to look at it. But the other way to look at it is also it's a cautionary tale for us. We can talk about tourists all you want, and we can be mean. And I mean, trying very hard for us not to be mean. But this is something that also invites us to self-analyze and ask ourselves, are we being the kind of person we're expecting other people to be? If you ask me, I think I'm doing okay, actually. Let's see. What about the weather, Paco, says Lynn from Casa Bellavista. Well, we usually don't bring it up on Sundays, but because you're asking, we are so very happy to do that. It is 27 degrees right now, feels like 29. Fahrenheit, it's 81. Humidity dropped to 62%. So this will be a great day to be walking about. I am going to stay home all day long because the new season of The Crown is out on Netflix. So I'm not going very far from my television set today. Weather forecast for today it's going to, whoa, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Weather forecast for today is that it's going to be humid through the day. Tomorrow, humid through the day, highs of 31. And Tuesday, clear throughout the day, highs of 32. So it's going to be warm, a little warmer again, but not so much that we have to worry about it. La da 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 da. Let's see. As part of my conversation, my conversion from tourist to local, I have learned patience, which does not come naturally to me. I was there when I first moved to the United States, and I stayed there for 19 years. I had to learn a lot of things, and I think that's part of everyone's process. Absolutely. We were going to stop at Licks behind La Comer yesterday. Gotta get there. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Yes, we are. We're having a conversation. New and question. Hold on. You guys are scrolling on me. I joined as an annual supporter on 4 November. How do I access your show notes? That's a really good question. Well, first of all, thank you for your support, Wes. Number one, the show notes are available on every broadcast. You can find them in 3 different places. You can find them here on Facebook on every single video, I add the show notes there. You can also find them along with every video when it's posted on YouTube. And you can find them on the website for Coffee and Headlines. And all that information is available for you at the end of every broadcast. That is not the same thing as user exclusive content, which we've only really offered one perk, and that was the first perk, the official perk that we offered in November, and that was the Vallarta, the Versalles for Foodies map. We're going to continue offering more exclusive perks for members like you as a way to show our gratitude. And the more we have, the more we'll give you information where to find them. Let's see. This makes me laugh. A couple of gringos were saying on their YouTube that the most spoken phrase on the beach in PBR was no gracias. Well, yes, there's a lot of people trying to make a living, and no gracias is a way to say thanks, but no thanks. Absolutely. Let's see what else. Question: does Licks offer daily dairy-free or gelato? That's a really good question. Unfortunately, that's not a question that I can answer just because it's not my shop. But I'm sure that Kathleen, who's usually here, we can ask her when we see her, and we can all find out about this. Before we leave, two more headlines to share with you. In case you missed it, this is my personal final push to invite you to catch Akhenaten at the Metropolitan Opera website. It is still available for you to watch. If you want to stream it, it'll be available through today until 6 o'clock in the evening. So this is a great time to zone out and watch this wonderful opera with music by Philip Glass. And the last headline that I want to show you, which has absolutely nothing to do with anything, is if you ever wonder how you can wake up a bunny rabbit, one sure way to do it is by using grapes and surrounding him with grapes. I found this absolutely addictive video, which is nothing more than 20 minutes worth of this guy surrounding his sleeping rabbit with grapes until there were so many of them that the rabbit sniffed them and just started chewing on them. And it's absolutely delightful and delicious. So I'm going to leave these links for you to enjoy today, along with the show notes, and hopefully you will be as amused as I was when I saw this. Tomorrow is Monday. It is unclear to me whether our governor will make his usual Sunday announcement, because we know that he's going to make a Monday morning announcement of how things are going to be like moving forward. I don't know if that will arrive early enough for us to enjoy or to learn about here during Coffee and Headlines, but we are going to keep our eye on the news as always. And between now and the next time I see you, I am, as always, grateful for your time, for your company here. I think we're going to be doing naughty Mexican songs next week. So we'll see how that goes. So between now and the next time that I see you, I hope that you'll have a great Sunday. I hope you go out for a walk. Today is a beautiful day to do so. And if you are as addicted to The Crown on Netflix as I am, I hope you have the most awesome binging day today. Have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.